Big news out of Chiefs training camp. Head coach Andy Reid has just made a major call on Patrick Mahomes, and it's one that's sending Chiefs fans into a mix of relief and nervous anticipation all at once. Tonight we're breaking down exactly what Reid decided, why he made this call, and what it actually means for Mahomes and the Chiefs heading into the 2026 season. Let's set the stage first, because to understand this decision, you have to understand what Mahomes has been through to get to this point. Back on December 14th of last year, Patrick Mahomes suffered a serious knee injury, tearing both his ACL and LCL. For most quarterbacks, an injury like that comes with a recovery timeline that can stretch a year or more. Doctors gave Mahomes a 9-month recovery window, which put his availability for the start of this season into real question. This wasn't a minor tweak or a day-to-day situation. This was a major structural knee surgery for the face of the franchise, the two-time MVP, the guy who has led the Chiefs to multiple Super Bowl titles. But here's where the story starts to turn in a direction nobody was fully expecting. Mahomes attacked his recovery with an intensity that even people close to the situation are still talking about. Reid himself gave insight into just how much work went into this comeback, saying, quote, "He's going to do whatever it takes." Reid described how Mahomes essentially dedicated himself entirely to the rehab process, working with Chiefs assistant trainer Julie Freimeyer every single day, spending 7 hours at a time on it. Reid pointed out that it wasn't always fun. It wasn't glamorous. But Mahomes didn't care. He was locked in on getting back as fast and as safely as possible. And the results of that work have been staggering. Mahomes was cleared to participate in the entire offseason program. He reported to training camp on time. No delays, no setbacks. Then, late last month, he got the ultimate green light. Dr. Dan Cooper, the Dallas-based surgeon who actually performed the knee surgery, cleared Mahomes to participate in practices with zero restrictions. For a guy who tore 2 ligaments in his knee less than a year ago, that is an extraordinary recovery pace. Mahomes has echoed this himself in his own comments to reporters. He said he feels great, to the point where he sometimes actually forgets he's coming off a major knee injury at all. He did add that he's trying to stay smart about it, not getting overconfident just because the knee feels good in practice reps. But by every account coming out of St. Joseph, Missouri, where the Chiefs hold training camp, Mahomes has looked like himself. He's been taking full practice reps, running through drills in a knee brace like it's just another training camp, and reportedly has not missed a single first-team rep since camp opened. So, with all of that positive momentum, here's the big question everyone wanted answered. Is Patrick Mahomes going to play in the preseason? And this is where Andy Reid made his call. Speaking to reporters, Reid made it clear that Mahomes will very likely not play in the Chiefs' preseason opener against the Rams. His exact words were, quote, "There's a pretty good chance where I don't play him. Percentages are leaning that way." When asked about the following preseason games, Reid didn't commit to those either, saying he wasn't sure if Mahomes would play in the second or third preseason game at that point. Now, for fans expecting to see their franchise quarterback take live snaps in an exhibition game as proof he's fully back, this might sound like a letdown at first. But when you dig into Reid's reasoning, and when you look at his history with star players recovering from injury, this decision makes a lot of sense. Reid downplayed the severity of the current situation, saying flatly, quote, "He's going to be okay." This isn't Reid expressing concern about a setback. This is Reid being deliberately cautious with an asset that matters more to this franchise than almost anything else. And this is a pattern for him. Reid has a long track record of protecting players coming back from major injuries rather than rushing them onto the field for meaningless preseason snaps. He slow-played running back Jamal Charles's return from a torn ACL back in 2016. He took a similarly careful, methodical approach with linebacker Tamba Hali's knee issues. And fans will remember he refused to force Travis Kelce onto the field for the 2023 season opener when Kelce's knee simply wasn't feeling right, even with the pressure of a season opener looming. In other words, this is exactly what Andy Reid does when a player who matters this much to the team is working back from a serious injury. He doesn't gamble with it in games that don't count. Reid explained his overall approach to reporters as well, saying, quote, "We're just keeping an eye on him and letting the doctors guide us from there. As long as he's safe, that's what we're looking at. So right now, for what we're doing, he's safe to roll." That last line is key. Mahomes is fully cleared and participating at full speed in practice. This isn't about him being unsafe to play. It's about not needing to expose him to live hits from opposing defenses in games that have zero bearing on the Chiefs' actual season. And that's really the heart of Reid's decision here. The preseason exists for teams to evaluate roster depth, look at younger players fighting for spots, and get game reps for guys who need them. Patrick Mahomes does not need reps against a Rams or Bengals second-string defense to prove he's ready. He needs to stay healthy, keep progressing in practice, and be ready to go when Week 1 actually matters. So what does the real target date look like? Based on everything coming out of camp, all signs are pointing toward the Chiefs' regular season opener. Kansas City is set to open the season against Denver on September 15th, and if Mahomes continues progressing at this pace through the rest of training camp, that game is very much considered the real target for his return to live football action. It's also worth remembering that Mahomes has faced plenty of injury battles throughout his career, and Reid has managed nearly all of them with this same level of caution paired with confidence. Back during the Chiefs' Super Bowl run in the 2022 season, Mahomes dealt with a high ankle sprain in the AFC divisional round against the Jaguars. Reid gave calm, measured updates throughout that process too, saying Mahomes was working hard in treatment and was doing okay, all while trusting his quarterback's own read on his body. Mahomes went on to play through that injury and eventually lifted the Lombardi Trophy that season. So there is precedent here for Reid T. Meanwhile, Mahomes isn't the only name on the injury report in St. Joseph right now. Reid gave a broader camp update covering several other Chiefs players dealing with various ailments. Defensive end Ashton Gillotte is working through a hamstring strain. Linebacker Jeffrey Bassa has a groin injury. Linebacker Drew Tranquil has been dealing with some back pain. Wide receiver Xavier Worthy has a shoulder issue. Defensive back L'Jarius Sneed continues managing a knee problem that the team has actually dealt with before during his time with the Chiefs. Cornerback Mansour Delane is working through a shoulder injury of his own. And rookie fifth-round pick Cyrus Allen, who had reportedly been turning heads early in camp, returned to practice after bruising his shin, though he was still being eased back into contact drills. Reid struck an optimistic tone about the group overall, saying, quote, "One positive about these injuries is there's nothing that the guys aren't coming back from. But we got some nicks and bruises." In other words, plenty of bumps and bruises typical of any NFL training camp, but nothing that has the coaching staff seriously worried heading into the season. Still, all eyes remain on Mahomes, and rightfully so. This is a franchise that has built its identity around having arguably the best quarterback in football healthy and available. The fact that he's already fully cleared, taking full practice reps, and pushing toward a Week 1 target just 9 months removed from a torn ACL and LCL is, by almost any measure, ahead of schedule. Andy Reid's decision to hold him out of the preseason isn't a red flag. It's a green light being handled the smart way, protecting the investment while trusting the medical team's guidance. So to sum it all up, Patrick Mahomes will very likely not play at all during the Chiefs' 3 preseason games. Andy Reid has made that decision clear, even if he hasn't ruled it out completely for later exhibition games. But the target everyone in Kansas City is circling is September 15th against Denver, when the games finally start to count. If Mahomes' recovery pace holds, Chiefs fans could be looking at their franchise quarterback back under center for Week 1, fully healthy, and picking up right where he left off. Let us know in the comments what you think of Reid's decision. Are you fully on board with sitting Mahomes for the entire preseason, or would you like to see at least a series or 2 before Week 1 arrives? If you want to stay updated on everything happening with the Chiefs heading into the new season, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next update.